Hello friends! Welcome to Squaird Plans, where creative planning and organization comes to life. I'm Stephanie, and today we're going to be doing a flip through of all of my April After the Pen spreads. I'll be going through this giant, right now, Frankenplanner setup that I have. I'll briefly touch on the different sections, just in case you are interested to see what may have changed over the last couple of months. And also too, I will be again going through all of my April layouts after the pen so you can see how I'm using the decorative layouts that I post up on my channel. So hopefully that is what you're here for. We're doing it in this awesome live format so that you guys can ask questions as I'm going through and then immediately get answers to your questions as we go through. So if you have access to chat, I encourage you to put your questions in there as we do this video, and hopefully I'll be able to catch your questions and answer them throughout the process. So I see a few people are joining in. Thank you so much. Hi Janine, Wendy, Michelle, Kimberly. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I'm super excited. Yeah, I see a bunch more jumping into, I think I see Natasha. Awesome. Yeah, okay, so I am going to go ahead and get started, but again, if you have a moment, please do drop your information into the chat. Say who you are, where you're tuning in from. I really love to see that kind of information and just, know a little bit more about you, since I'm sharing a little bit about me as well. Okay, that said, I think we're ready to begin. I'm going to go ahead and get started just by talking a little bit briefly about my setup. So I DIY'd this cover recently in my spring refresh, as well as the dashboard behind it, although this is a printable, or not a printable, a stock photo that I printed out as the dashboard, but I just love the layering. I have my planner on Happy Planner expander rings, which are 1.75 inch size. So they're pretty large, but I put 5 planners into this planner, plus I have these sections which you're going to see. So I really needed all of that space on the rings to make that happen. Plus right now it is extra full because I need to take out April and I already have May in, so hopefully it'll be a little less bulky by the time we're done with this video. So that said, let's go ahead and flip to the first section. I have here at the beginning my setup with the sticky dash that I made, which is another DIY project. And on the back of it, I have a DIY pen loop I made, a friction pen, and on the back of this DIY sticky dash, there is a couple of pockets. So I have one here, and then I also have a little flap too, and I just have some cards in there for the holidays and graduations that are coming up that I want to remember to tackle and send out. Let's see, so next we're going to go ahead and jump into the first part of my planner, which is divided by these side tabs. I have an inbox section, a goal section, a productivity section, and a schedule section, which is where we're going to spend most of the time in this video. And also in the back I have a reference and just a notes section as well, which I'll briefly touch on when we get back there. So my inbox section is based off of the Getting Things Done method by David Allen. And I have this printable in my shop if you're interested. But basically this is where I just take all of the brain dump things that I need to address at some point, drop them down here, and then organize them using that GTD method. So I have that. And again, if you're interested, this is in my shop under GTD inbox. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Next, we're going to go to my goals section, and my goals section here is another project that I did using what is this, dog grid paper and stickers, just kind of creating my own goals pages for 2023. And I do have a video on that if you're interested in that. I have a vision board here as well as my goals divided by quarter, and there's quite a few videos going through my setup of this as well as my goal review. So again, if you're interested, there are videos on my channel really going into depth on this section of my planner. So that's my goal section. Next, we're going to go into my productivity section, which is where I'm currently keeping my Kanban board, which I've been using to work on my portfolio site, which has been a big task for me for many years. And I'm really liking how this is working out. It has just basically stickies that you move individual tasks over into different sections. Again, you could get a lot more information on the video that I did on this earlier this year. Just look up Kanban board and how I'm using it to do my goals. I also got this monthly cleaning schedule that I made. I think I made this last spring and I've been using it since then. So this was a really fun one. I basically took a Happy Planner insert and repurposed it into a cleaning schedule that could be reused by laminating it. I use a Sharpie pen on this, and I also have some on the back too that is more annual stuff. So this is like a monthly schedule that I can erase and redo every month. And then on the back I have a more spring or, annual style of cleaning schedule that I can kind of tackle as I can. But mainly it's been for spring cleaning. So I recently just, excuse me, I recently just wiped this whole section off from last year and redid it since I did some spring cleaning recently and has started over with that. And I also reset my May dashboard for this as well. Okay, so that's kind of in my productivity section. So next we're going to move on to where we're going to live today, which is in my schedule section. So in my schedule section, I have at the very front basically all of my dated materials. I have my yearly, year at a glance pages. These are all from my shop, as well as my future log, which I do have a setup video on this if you want to know a little bit more about how I'm using it. But this is a great way to kind of get a glance at your whole year, what might be coming up, and then using that to plan from month to month. So I have that in there. And then we get into my very first planner, which is my faith planner. So like I said, I have 5 planners in here at once. And so I only keep usually a month at a time in here. I divide up the month that I include into these 3 sections, sometimes 4. And I use this to navigate through my planner every day or every morning. So I don't flip through all the pages all the time. Usually what I do is just flip through the tabs, 1, 2, 3, all the way through until I'm done with the top tabs, and then I know I'm completed all of the pages that I need to complete for the day. And that's just been working out really great for me. I've been doing that system for a couple of years now, I guess, and I highly recommend it if you have a planner like this where there's a lot of content, a lot of things. It's kind of simplifying your life from day to day, but having everything together just, I think, works really well. Okay, you guys, let's jump into the faith planner. So again, I'm using inserts from my shop. This month I had printed on the standard HP Premium 32 paper, and I believe I have that link below in the description if you are looking for it, but it's really good paper for double-sided printing. And my first spread of the month is this monthly spread for April. I do a theme each month for my faith planner that is the same throughout the month. So all the pages will be themed in a similar manner. And on my monthly, what I do is I take a summary of my daily Bible reading and just do a little snippet of what I read that day and just kind of some kind of application to my life. So that is what I do every day. It's just part of my process. And then I also add in the actual readings that I did so that I can kind of keep track of where I am. But I do all this in a program called YouVersion Bible app. And that is where I basically have my home base for all my Bible stuff. I have my daily reading plan in there, so I don't even have to think too hard. It's already kind of populated from day to day. I also use that for my verse of the day reference, which you're going to see here in the Faith Weeks. So that's a really great application. If you are looking for a good Bible app, I recommend that one, the YouVersion Bible app. And I use that pretty much solely for all of my faith-based stuff in my planner and sometimes outside of my planner. So anyway, so I have this set up, and then I also did the little corner hack this month since we had that extra day kind of hanging out so that I could get a full box for each day here in the bottom. So next we have the faith overview pages. So I'm sorry, you guys. I have to keep clearing my throat. These are the faith overview pages that I recently added to my shop this year. I wanted to try something out, and this really, I think, has been a nice way to marry some things that I felt like I was missing in my faith planner. I have this currently section, which I used maybe 2 years ago, and it was in a currently page format, and I really loved it, so I added that to the faith planner overview here. And then I also have a place for a prayer list, and then those habits that I like to track in my faith planner, including my morning prayer, the daily reading, and the summary I mentioned earlier, as well as the lettering that we're going to talk about here in the Faith Week. So this is a really awesome way to just kind of have an at-a-glance month for my faith planning. And again, this is in my shop. If you're interested, look up the faith overview, and hopefully I'll have it in the description below as well. So next I have my quadrant layout format that I use on a daily basis for my lettering practice and my verse of the day reading interpretation. So that's how I use my faith planner. If you're new to my channel, I love to do this kind of combination of things that I've wanted to do for a long time, spend more time in the Word, as well as hone some skills that I never seem to have time for. So this is a way to kind of marry those two goals together. I take the lettering and I basically use that to interpret the verse the best I can. Depends on the day, but sometimes I get inspired by some of they have like little samples in the app, so sometimes that helps, and then sometimes I just have a good idea, and then sometimes I don't. It just depends on the morning. So, but this is how the first week turned out, and yeah, I think it really turned out pretty good. I'm not in love with the orange color as much, but it works better on some pages than others, but I do like the yellow. It was just a little light, so I had to add in another color, and I thought that the orange might bring in some of the darker tones and be able to be used a little bit better for some of the lettering. I do have a lettering series if you want to know more about my style of lettering and how you can improve your own on my channel. So if that's something you're interested in and knowing kind of how to do what I'm doing here, check out that series. It's pretty new. I just recently started it this year, and I really hope that it would be helpful for you if you are trying to approach lettering in the same way that I did. So here is the next week, and I really, again, same process. It's just every day I take a moment and work on the lettering and review the verse, trying to interpret what I'm reading. This month I think I used, what is the name of that company? Oh, Primrosea pens. I used the two colors of this kind of wheat tone and then the more orange tone in their dual tip marker, which was nice because it had a really fine tip and then also a brush tip on the other side. So I could do heavier lettering, coloring in, but I also could write, as you could see back here. This is kind of a sample of how thin the tip was on the fine liner side. So that was nice. It reminded me a lot of the Arteza Twi markers, which I've used in the past for my faith lettering, which are also a really good set to have for this purpose. But I think the brush tip on the Primrosea pens is a little bit better than that. So if it is something you're looking for, if you're looking for some pens to start on, let me grab one. This is the pen that I used here. I think this is the orange tone actually here. And yeah, on one side it has a nice fine tip. I don't know if you guys can see that. And then it has the brush tip, which again, I think has much more control than the Arteza Twi markers. And I did do some brush lettering at some point. It's a little bit soft for me because I still consider myself a beginner when it comes to hand, brush lettering. The black pen that I use is a hard tip, which makes it a little bit easier to control those thick, thin strokes. This one's a lot softer. So, it takes some practice, but it does get a lot smoother. It doesn't fray like the Arteza Twi markers, in case you're interested. Anywho, but I love that there's a variety of colors and I can match it to the theme. So, and as you can see here, the orange definitely matches a little bit better with these butterflies. So as I go through, you'll probably see some pages that fit a little bit better together as far as the color scheme. So this was the next week, and there was a few on here that I really liked. I really liked how this one turned out, actually. But again, it's the same process, not really anything new to impart here. Sometimes, like I said, I have good mornings where I feel like I have a good idea, and sometimes not so much. And sometimes the verses are lengthy, so I have to keep that in mind when I'm doing it, but it's fun to work through that. I'm going to quickly check the chat. I think there's a question. See, do you carry your planner and supplies everywhere you go? And if so, what do you carry in? Thanks for the question, Davis. I used to carry this planner to and from work, and I used to put it in a deluxe cover if needed, when I would do maybe like plane travel or something where it was like far outside of my normal traveling from day to day. But for work, I just put a hardcover, snap-in hardcover on the top of it and put it into my tote bag. That worked out pretty well. The hardcover that I had, I added a band so it would keep it closed while it was in there, and that worked out well for me. As far as supplies, I do have my pin loops on here, and that's usually a majority of the things that I use when I was on the go. I didn't quite yet have my faith planner at that time, so I didn't have to bring in any other pens and such. But in the morning when I do my setup, I have just like a little cup of the pens that I'm using at this current time, and then I just pull from that cup, just kind of keep them separate from my stash so I know which ones I need, and then just have it there ready to go. But yeah, at this size, it's a little bit large, because back in the day when I would actually move it, it was more of a standard classic Happy Planner size because it didn't have as much in it. This is pretty heavy, I'm not going to lie. I don't think I would take this on the go. So if that was the case, that's maybe, you have one for home and you have one for on the go, if that works out better for you, especially if you're, dragging it to and from work. Things like your faith planner and stuff might not need to go with you everywhere. So just some things to keep in mind. Let's see, I'm going to look in the chat. I see another couple comments. Do you find lettering has improved since doing this type of daily entry? Yes, it's improved a ton, Tracy, a lot. So if you guys are interested to see where I started, you can always go to my faith videos. I actually have a flip through of my very first planner, which was I think in 2019, and you can see where I started. It took a whole year just working on my monoline lettering, which is basically like this kind of text. I mean, not quite as tight, but just working on my cursive but stylized cursive text. And then I moved into brush lettering after that. But yeah, so it's definitely improved a ton. And just the repetition, trying some things, getting that muscle memory in, I think is really beneficial. And it really doesn't take that much time once you kind of figure out what you need to do or what works best for you. So highly recommend that. And don't worry about the typos, Tracy. I know how it goes. I'm really bad at typing. Okay, so that said, we've seen this spread probably a little too long, so let's go ahead and flip to the next one. And this one was also a good one. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I like to add in doodles. I think I forgot to mention that. So sometimes I doodle things to kind of signify the interpretation. Sometimes I do more of a structural type idea where, it's in a circle, or this time it was in a shield to kind of mimic the design of the verse. And sometimes I just, try to emphasize certain words. So it really depends on the verse, how I'm feeling, that kind of thing. But I give you some ideas on how you might do that in those lettering videos if you want to know a little bit more about it. Let's see, quick thing I did, I just did a much needed pen organization. I have so many pens and just bought more the other day. Yes, you guys, I have a ton of pens. I do have a nice tip about swatching your pens if you are looking for a way to kind of get a hold of all of the different colors that you have. But yes, I have a lot of pens too. But you know what? I found that I need certain pens for certain uses. So I give myself grace because even though it's a lot, I definitely need them for certain applications. They don't all work well in every situation. So just, yeah, you can give yourself grace on that. And hi to everybody new who's joining in. Thanks for joining me today. Hope you're doing well. So again, this is the end of the April weeklies, I believe. And then on the back page, for the first part of the year, I hadn't really figured out what I was going to do with this. For April, I tried doing a little gratitude and just kind of dropping in gratitudes as the month came through, you know, and just like as I felt a whim to have a gratitude. And that was kind of fun. It would have been nice to kind of fill it out completely, but I think this was still a nice idea. So if you want an idea for how you might use a page like this, an empty page, a gratitude I think is a really nice way to kind of make it nice and cute, but also useful. Okay, so that said, that's the end of my faith planner. I've already got May in there. Let me grab my actual home base for my faith stuff. So that lives in this planner. I'm gonna go ahead and shift some stuff over so you guys can see. And yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pull out April. And my rings will be very happy to get a little bit of space back. And in this faith planner, it's really just a place to home all of these inserts for the year. So I just have some old dividers in there so I can easily find the month that I'm looking for, and just some random rings and another cover, and we call it a day because I'm really not in this as a planner. It's just more of a storage area for my faith stuff. So that said, let's go ahead and move that to the side and get reset here for you guys. And let me see in the chat, let's see. Since I've been doing more journaling, I'm learning what pens and markers work for me. Yes, it does make a difference, and you kind of learn as you go, as you see. So yeah, it's really a good way to approach it. And then, did you ever get in a planner slump where you didn't want to plan? Yeah, I definitely have gotten into a planner slump. Recently, when I felt like it was more about not wanting to plan, but not wanting to plan, but burning out a little bit because I had so many planner spreads to deal with. And sometimes when that happens, you just kind of have to reevaluate and figure out, do I need this setup as is? What changes can I make? And then some ways that I've kind of pulled back is that whole theming out a month. So if it's something that I want to have designed so that I'll look at it and engage with it, but I don't want to have to worry about doing it every week, I will do that whole month kind of setup so that I don't have to worry about it throughout the month. I just set it all up at once, and it alleviates a lot of stress each week thinking about what I'm going to do for that week's theme. And if you're not into really theming your planner so much, if you just really want to use it more functionally, I think it's more about dialing down how much you really need to be planning, and what can you let go in order to focus in on the important things and the more organizational tools that you need in order to complete your day to its fullest. So that's what I would recommend if you're in a planner slump or you just don't even want to touch your planner. If you have a lot of planner setups to work on, then try narrowing things down and really just getting to the meat and potatoes of what you need and letting the rest go for a while until you build up more enthusiasm for your planner. Let's see, and how long have you been using a Frankenplanner? I started using this, I think, pretty much from the get-go, from the start of my YouTube channel for sure. I started out just with a health planner, and you'll kind of see my health planner here in a minute. That is what got me into this type of planning as far as like decorative planning. I was trying to find a way to encourage myself to do better health-wise, especially with my food. That's where I really tend to get lax. So that's what started me in with the Happy Planner, the health planner, and then I started seeing people with stickers and jazzing it up to make it so interesting and cute that you want to engage. And that's when I started. I did that in 2018, and then I added in just a daily planner. I started with a vertical, did not work, and then I moved into the horizontal, and that's where I found that sweet spot. So I started with the health planner, and but pretty much once I got that other planner, I had to start combining them. I just couldn't work out of separate planners. It just doesn't work for me. Having everything as a home base really was the way to go for me. And then adding long-term storage, which you'll see in the back, was definitely something I wanted to have. And so it just kind of led into this design, this Frankenplan design. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So like I said, this is my faith planner. We're all set with that. I've got May in, so we're going to move over to the next planner in my setup, which is my health planner. So again, I have inserts from my shop for my health planner. And here is my monthly layout for this section. I don't do plan with me's on this because I pretty much just throw down stickers, pick some colors, and go with it. Again, trying to not overwhelm myself with designs that I have to do each month. So this one is where I kind of simplify my life and just keep it fairly simple for the time being as far as the monthly pages of this planner are concerned. Let's see. I actually see a few notes here in the chat. Let's see, thank you for being a true planner. Sorry, I was reading a kind of nice comment there from Kathy. Yeah, thanks, Kathy. I try to do the best of both worlds. Some design, some function, but using the planner is my primary goal here, not just to make something pretty, even though that is part of the engagement factor, but I really want to use the planner as a planner. So thanks, Kathy. I really do appreciate that. Okay. So for April, this layout, I've been trying to use this year for tracking my workouts. In the past, I used it to track kind of like my summary of chronic illness symptoms and stuff, which was fine, but I really didn't go back and reference it all that much. So what I started to do this year was trying to get a monthly overview of how I was doing workout wise. And as you can see, it has not been great. A lot of skipped days, but it is helpful information just to know where I'm lacking and why maybe I didn't end up working out certain days. And so I do appreciate this spread. It's not as motivating as I'd hoped it would be. Let's just put it that way. Let's see, I have in the goals or the sidebar section, I have a little goal set up of what I wanted to get accomplished as far as my workouts and nutrition. And then I try to give myself a little bit of a purpose to, give myself that little push I need. It helped a little, but not a ton. Again, I don't really engage with this layout all of that much, unfortunately. So, even though it's designed, it's not, I don't know, there's just something about it. It's good information. I do like to see this as a whole, but yeah, I'll just say that. It is that, yeah, I've been struggling a lot with my health and fitness since COVID, as some of you may know who've been with me in a long time, because I used to go to the gym regularly, and that really helped keep me on focus. But now because, of the COVID stuff, I haven't been back to the gym. And yeah, it's just put a damper on my motivation a bit. Let's see, I have a comment here in the chat. I am struggling so much with planner piece. Oh, I understand. Even tried Frankenplanning and it isn't working either. Any suggestions? Again, simplifying is the best way to start. So, maybe you don't need all of the things, or maybe you can combine some things to help you narrow down your life. Also to try maybe some organizational techniques, kind of like I have here with the tabs, to just help you find what you're looking for at a glance without feeling overwhelmed with pages and pages of planners that you don't necessarily need to engage with on a regular basis. So that's one way I would think to be helpful. Also trying different layouts. Some good tips for that is like getting some printables, or even just grabbing a sheet of paper and kind of figuring out what would be your ideal layout for whatever the content is that you need to track or organize, and trying it out, or having somebody maybe even make it for you if you're just not finding what you need. I do custom layouts in my shop, so that's an option if you are looking for something that you could try out. And there's lots of other planner shops that do the same type of thing or have different types of layouts that you might want to try. So that would be my best suggestions for kind of trying things, figuring it out, and just don't get stuck in a spot where you're just not comfortable, but you keep working it because that's all you know and are familiar with. Go out there, look and see what other people are doing and see if you can get some ideas even from bullet journalers or, ring planners. It doesn't have to be, Happy Planner or Discbound planning. You can definitely get some ideas that might spark what you need to really find that planner piece from another place. Okay, so that was a little side note. Back to my health overview. So this layout here, again, is something new to my shop this year. I, in the past, have tracked all of my monthly stats is what I call them, but basically they're the stats that I track every day and then get a monthly overview of them on the back page of my health. I did that for a year, and then I also had a separate insert that I tracked them on last year. And so this year, because I wanted this fluidity that each planner had a similar look, I had the faith overview with the monthly first, and then you go into this overview page. So I did the same thing with the faith, where I had the health month, and then I had an overview page, and I added in that content here. So I have this, which is, like I said, a monthly overview of my stats for the month. Behind these black Post-it notes, we have my measurements and weight for the month, so that's why they're hidden. Although I am happy to say I'm seeing some progress, which I'll talk a little bit about in the end. So I maybe cracked the code that I needed to. I've also added in just some prompts on my own here in this kind of empty area to review my health goals and how my health is for the month and what I can do maybe differently going forward. So that's what I've been using this little section for. Back over here we have some habit trackers, and then here this month I just tried to find a use for it, because honestly I didn't really have a use for this. I was putting goals up here for a while, but that really wasn't working either, so I just tried some different things this month and kind of worked. I'm still working out how best to use this layout for myself, but it's there and you can easily customize it for what your needs are, which is kind of nice. Let's see. First, weekly. This one was really interesting. I don't think I did a plan with me on this. I used Planning Things, I think one of her newer books, I cannot remember the name. I think this was Planning Thing though. And then I mixed it with some Happy Planner stickers. I used silver, and I've talked about this before on my channel. Silver is not my favorite foil. You can hardly see it on white, and then if you're looking at it at the wrong angle, you really can't see anything. So I don't know what you guys can see right now, but I can barely see the BLDS on each day or the sparkly kind of confetti I put around the flowers because of the way the light is hitting. But I thought I would try it out, and it seemed to match well with this layout, mainly because I wanted to use this washi that had silver in it. So this was fun. I do like how it turned out. You can't go wrong with a rainbow spread. I'll talk a little bit more about what I track on these, because each one is the same, but I'll tell you how I use that on the next spread. Okay, so like I mentioned, for my health planner, I track my stats. So every day I track my stats that come from my Apple Watch. So I have those up here at the top, and then I put in my workouts, if I did a workout or not. I've been adding a lot of no workouts lately, but I still have some where I, put in the effort. And this lovely, I really like how this turned out this week, kind of floral thing, which was for, I think, Fresh Bloom. Let me just double check that. I think that was right. For the Plantable Challenge. So it was a theme, I'm pretty sure, for the month. We'll get there. Just need to check. Yes, this was for Full Bloom. I'll put a little placeholder so I can look again, because I'm sure I'm going to have to remember some other ones this month. So this is for the Full Bloom layout or theme, must think but cannot. And then on the bottom here, I track my food for the day and just kind of, I used to track my calories, kind of getting away from that and focusing more on eating whole foods and steering away from, eating out as much and processed foods. And I think that's really working. So that is one of the things that I think is helping me kind of progress to my goals of weight loss. So I'm excited about that. I just put some goals in here for the week just to kind of, encourage me. And then I added a habit tracker to this layout. So this is the lined top box layout for my shop. I have two versions. I have one that's fully lined from top to bottom, which I call the line vertical. And then I have one with a top box, which is kind of open. And that's the one I use this year for my health. And I added this habit tracker, this hydration tracker, because I really need that. I didn't want to keep adding water trackers every week and as like a custom item. Okay, so yeah, that said, this is how it turned out. And like I said, I think there was a plan with me on this. So if not, remind me. And if you want to know more about the stickers, I can give you details. But I think there was a plan with me on this. So here was my next week. This one I think I did not do a plan with me on, if I remember correctly, but I used some stickers from Creative Kingfisher and some Happy Planner stickers, just kind of random florals. I think this one was from Seasons of Color, and some washi tape with the Narrative Hues, formerly known as Girl Boss Anna overlay tapes, just to add some more color. So this one was a pretty simple one, but I did like how it turned out. I really like the orange-blue combination, so I might do that again in the future. Quick question from the chat. I see, what program do you use to create my pages? So I use Adobe InDesign to design my planners. It's a really good program for doing multi-page documents. If you want to get into designing your own planners, I would definitely recommend that over trying Canva or something like that. If you're just trying to do single layout kind of things or individual pages that aren't like full planners, then Canva or something like that that's a free program could probably work for you if you just want to design something real quick for yourself. But otherwise, I would definitely recommend InDesign for multi-page documents. Okay, so anyway, back to this. One thing I wanted to mention, there's going to be a really loud jet, you guys, going overhead right now, so sorry if I sound hard to hear in a minute. So what I started doing at the end of April was trying extended fasting. Did some research on it, and I'm trying to build up my fasting window up to alternating day fasting, which is in my goal setup you'll see for May. My health goal is to build up to it. So I started doing this extended fast situation, and at the end of April, just trying things out, and it really has been a game changer as far as weight loss. It just definitely started kicking things into gear. So if you're, like me, that, you're really struggling to push yourself into some weight loss progress, I would definitely recommend looking into it. So far, it's been really helpful, and it's also supposed to have health benefits, which I really was one of the reasons why I thought I would try it, because I have all these chronic respiratory illnesses, and I'm hoping that I can see some progress with that too. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that and the progress that I was seeing there, because I think that would be beneficial for some people to know. Let's see. And finally, the last page we have is, I think, another plannable challenge, and this one was Take to the Skies. So I had wanted to do some fun, like planes and travel styled layout, or, themed, whatever I'm trying to say here with this page spread, but I couldn't find the stickers to really support it, aside from, oh my gosh, I can't even talk right now. These clouds, washi from Daiso. And I really liked that part of it, but I just couldn't find the right scale of stickers for planes or luggage and stuff. I just thought it just wasn't working. So I do like how this turned out though, even though I didn't really fully develop it the way I thought I would. and love the rainbow sort of, rainbow day styling and the quotes. It was really fun to be in and definitely made me think about being up in the clouds as I was working it. Some things I changed here on this spread was adding in those fasting hours. So I started adding in the hours that I was actually eating because it was taking too long to figure out the opposite, and then I would kind of calculate the gap here and put that below. So, like 20 hours, 21 hours. That was working for me on this last spread, but when I moved it into my monthly for May, which you'll see in the next flip through, and I thought that worked out a little bit better, which you'll see later down the road. Okay, and I do believe there was a plan with me on this, so hopefully if you have any questions, you can find the details in the plan with me video description. And then finally, we have the habit tracker, which is again from my shop. I added this to the back of each of the months, and I changed the title to say, it usually says habit tracker, so I just changed it to say meds and supplements, and then just this little title right here, and that was it. So another customization of something that exists already in my shop. And this is where I put in like all of the meds I take, any supplements I'm taking, and then I started this year adding in the chronic symptoms that I was tracking on my monthly here on this sheet, just so that was a little bit easier to see at a glance what I was experiencing each day. And that's been working out great. I've been doing that all year and highly recommend that. Okay, let's move this out. I think we are, all set with that. And I will just grab my health planner, which again just kind of sits here and holds all of the months. Nothing really special. I'm never in it other than at this time in the year. So just drop this in under April and we're all set. And this goes back on the shelf for another month. Okay, let's jump ahead to the next planner, which is my daily, I believe. Let's get to it though. Yeah. Okay, let me check the chat real quick. I think there's another question. Is that meds and supplement sheet in your shop? So yes, that sheet I just mentioned is in my shop. It's under Habit Tracker. Again, if you want it customized to say meds and supplements or something, exactly like you saw there, it is a customization, but you can just reach out to me on Etsy and I can quote you on the little change that might be required there, and I'll send it to you a custom layout. And then you can also, pre-populate it. You can make any changes really that you want, and I'll just quote you on those changes if that's something you're interested in. You can do that for pretty much anything in my shop, you guys, so I'll just put that out there. If you find an insert and you just like it, but you want to tweak it or you want to change it up, just let me know on Etsy. Ask for the customization, and I can quote you the price. If it's a, extensive change, might cost a little bit more, but if it's something small, it's usually not that expensive. So yeah, just putting that out there. Okay, you guys, so we're on to the next planner, which is my daily planner. And here again, it's another insert from my shop. And this one here is the monthly layout, which I do tend to do plan with me's on. And again, the monthly pages in here are all themed in the same way. Just trying to eliminate those decisions that I've got to make every week. And so I just set up the whole month's pages all at once in the same theme, and that's been working out great. So I do have a setup video if you want to know more about this. What I do is I pretty much have been tracking, events and appointments on here. I don't have a lot going on in my life, you guys, so it was hard for me to really figure out how to best use this spread. But I've been adding into little moments or days where there was something very out of my norm and adding that in. So that's been working out better than it was in the very beginning. I also track TV that I've watched for the month, whatever shows I'm in, because me and my friends, we always talk about things like that. So this is nice to have it because I always forget what I've watched, after a week, who knows what you watched. And same with the books that I've read. So I really like having that here in the monthly view so I know what I've been reading and watching for the month. And this is how it turned out. And next we're into the April overview here. So this is what I call my month overview. This one's a little bit customized compared to the one that is currently in my shop. So I kind of stripped off the social aspect on this page. So you just get a nice clean 6-week month here at the top, and then just empty space down here for you to do whatever you want. There's also this extra long checklist, open area here, and then the habit trackers. So that's the difference between what you're seeing here in my shop. This one here has the social aspect kind of added in just for myself, so I wouldn't have to keep adding it every month, kind of as a customization. And so I track a few things here in the habits. This side's a little bit more geared towards my, daily catch-all style of planning, and this side is definitely more for my social. So here's my monthly list of things to do, and this has been actually working out really great because there are things that I don't necessarily need to have on a specific week, but I don't want to forget about. So having this kind of monthly to-do list is great, and then as I check this every day, I can review and say, oh wait, yeah, I need to look into that or whatever and get that done. So that's kind of cool. The habits are nice. I have it more about self-care type habits for the most part, and that's been going really good. Here I've been tracking my social stats, so that's how I've been using the monthly, and that's Instagram and YouTube. And then I also have kind of a little place for me to do a summary of how the month went and the weekly things that I need to do, tasks that I need to do as far as social is concerned. So that's how that page has turned out, and again, themed with the similar theme of the month. And next, sorry, I keep doing that with my mouth. Sorry. You notice things as you go. So the next thing that we're going to talk about are my weeklies, and I use a horizontal layout for what I call my daily planner. I know that might be confusing to some. It's a weekly format, but this is my everyday planner where all those tasks that I need to tackle, that's where they live here. And I do like to have these designed, so this is one of the core elements to keep me engaged with all of those things I don't normally want to do. If you make it pretty, sometimes it helps. So this was for the Plannable Challenge theme of Rise and Shine. Yes, that's right. So Rise and Shine. I actually got this idea from seeing somebody else do a kind of like a breakfast theme for Rise and Shine. I thought that was a super fun idea and a great way to use up some of those food stickers that I've had from the Happy Planner for years now. And I really liked how it turned out. Lots of gold, which is not always my favorite. It's very hard to read sometimes in the finer prints, but I do love the look of it. So I'm not sure if you guys can see any of the reflection. I'll pull it up and down and see if you guys can see. But I do love the gold. It's just, yeah, at the wrong angle, it is hard to read, similar to the silver. I think I did a plan with me on this, so I kind of explain how I laid it out. And I'll talk about more how I use these layouts here on the next spread. Ooh, this one was fun. I think I might have done a plan with me on this too, if I recall. So for my layouts in this section, I like to divide up the page into thirds, so you can really see it very clearly here on this layout, where each day has a little section for decor, or a third of the section for decor. Then I have a section for what I call my focus area or my focus box. So on this spread, they're all boxes, but sometimes it's just a little space for a focus or something important that I want to draw attention to for the day. And then I have my checklist of tasks and things I need to do. And that's pretty much how I use it on a weekly basis. So each spread is always thinking about how I'm going to fit in my checklist and how I'm going to fit in the focus along with the decor. So it's always functional, but I do like it to be pretty as well. And this one was one of my favorites, I think, for the month. Really loved this color scheme. It's super simple, honestly, you guys, so anybody could really do this. And I just love the way it turned out. I love the colors. So a really great theme, especially if you're kind of not that comfortable with decorating your planner. This is something anybody can do, very simple, and I think very visually stunning and engaging. So this one too was another Plannable Challenge, and this one here was for Get Earthy, which was super fun to do. There is a plan with me on it. I added in some mixed media on this one, some watercolor creams. I had some, I think I put in, some splatter after the fact, which I really just thought added a little bit more grittiness to the spread, a little bit more like dirtiness. And brown is not a color you would normally think to work with in your planner, but I think it really worked out in this spread. I mean, aside from the neutral style of planning, but like this kind of dirty brown, I mean, let's be real, what color this brown is not something I would normally put in my planner, but it really worked out with this spread and the color scheme. So I thought it came together really nice. And I did add some stamps as well on this one. So a really fun one. I've been really wanting to play more with mixed media. So in May, I actually printed the whole month on a heavier stock of paper. So you'll see a lot more mixed media plan with me this month. I think that's it for now. Like I'm getting dry mouth too. And finally, for the last week, I have this, I don't think there was a plan with me on it, but I have this spread design, which just kind of stemmed from me needing to use this book, which was, I think, Beauty and Florals, because I recently got it and I hadn't touched it yet. So I decided to pull that out, and I did some garland with the wreath shapes, because wreath shapes are always a little bit awkward, especially when they're in a clear sticker. So I do like to cut them in half or cut them in pieces and then kind of wrap them across the top. That really looked nice. And then, did some new things. Even though there wasn't a plan with me on this, there's some things to take away, like butting up these boxes together, these monthly boxes. That was something I hadn't tried before. I kind of like that. So just playing around with some different techniques with the stickers and seeing what I could come up with. I also added in a little bit of hard tip brush penning in here just for a little bit of accent on the days. And I like that addition as well when I think about it. Must breathe, must swallow, all those good things. So anyway, this is how the spread turned out. And if you do have any questions on what I used here, you'll probably have to drop that in the chat or in the comments so that I can answer it for you, because I don't think there was a plan with me on this. And then on the back page, we have my memory a day, which is just basically a simple monthly single month here on the back. I don't have this in my shop yet. There hasn't been enough interest so far, and I've been kind of focused in on my 2024 lineup. But I will probably eventually add this to my shop before the end of the year. So if you want a simple kind of layout like this, I will be working on getting it into my shop. But you can also, again, text me on Etsy, and if you want, this page as is, I can get that for you as a custom item. But anyway, so this was just my solution this year for having a memory keeping item in my planner, but moving it out of my monthly, which is where it's been for the last couple of years. And it's been working out okay. Honestly, it hasn't been the best solution. It's just a little too tight. I do like seeing it in this monthly format, but it is small. So I'll probably be rethinking how I'm going to use this maybe mid-year or even wait till the end of the year, but it's not a great solution right now, in my opinion, for memory planning. I also added a little bit of highlights here at the bottom so I don't have to read everything to figure out what happened. That's worked out pretty well, and again, themed with the monthly theme. Okay, let's jump to get that out of my planner. Dun, dun, and move into the daily planner that I have here. Another hodgepodge storage planner that I'm never in. And that's it. Okay, you guys, so exciting. We're near the end. The very last planner that we're going to go through is my hourly planner, and something new for you guys this month. So if you are interested in how to hourly plan and maybe want to see a little bit of a sample of what's to come into my shop, stay tuned. I'm going to kind of go over what I did here. So for the first quarter of the year, I've been using the Happy Planner Achieve Greatness Hourly Goals Planner, and that's been working out great, but it hasn't been the perfect solution for what I needed. So what I decided to do last month was to try to lay out a new planner as I would ideally see it, but with the same features of that planner. So I have a monthly layout, which is standard in pretty much all of my planners, and also comes with the Happy Planner. And this is what I use to track my social media. I basically use it to schedule things out, and then just I've actually taken away the social media weekly aspect and just been focusing here on the monthly overview. And honestly, that has just given me some planner peace, because I just felt like keeping up with all of the posts and things that I needed to do was just becoming overwhelming, and felt a little bit repetitive to rewrite it every week. So I've just been using this as a whole, and I track which videos I want to do, the posts I want to make, and then as the days go through, I cross them off. So very simple. Actually added a few stickers on it this month just to add a little bit of color, and that worked out great. So I didn't show the setup of this monthly goal setup because, again, it was a new layout that I was trying out for the month. And again, I think this is going to come to my shop very soon. So on the Happy Planner Goals Monthly, I can kind of show you what it looks like standard from the Happy Planner. So I just did the setup for this month's goals, and you can see it has this page, very similar to this page, but it comes with mainly 2 sections. And I always had to make it into 4 so that I can put in all the goals the way I saw best to use it. So I had to rework the page in order to make it fit my needs. So that was one aspect that I thought I would try and remedy on this layout. And so what I did is I just basically kept it super simple. I put a brief title at the top, and then just a box setup with some dot grid. So no matter how many goals you need to fit in here, or tasks, you could fit it in below, and then at the top you can kind of put in your main goal. So that's how I laid it out, and I really liked how this turned out. I'm always looking for suggestions though. So for me, this worked out perfectly, but if you're looking for something like this and this guy isn't working for you either, or this setup, let me know what you'd like to see. I like to try things out before I put it in my shop. So I thought that this was perfect, but maybe you can see some places for improvement. So please let me know either in the chat or in the comments if you have any suggestions for this layout before I produce it for my shop. And then on this second kind of hand page, we have a weekly tasks section, which is, again, another simplified page. This one's pretty much exactly like the way that the Happy Planner one is set up. This one says things to follow up on, but I've been using it mainly for weekly tasks and dividing up the weeks of the month into sections that are related to my goals task and what I need to get done. So that's how I've been using it. I go into it pretty in depth in my goal setup video if you want to know more about just how I'm using these pages in general. So this hasn't really changed that much. Again, though, I'm looking for suggestions as far as what you would think would be a good solution for this page as well, what you would like to see married up with the monthly goals. Because this might not be the best solution for everybody. Maybe you need more space for goal planning or things like that in this area. So again, suggestions are welcome. Quickly, I didn't do too much design work on this page. I usually don't do too much. I had some PET tape florals that I use in my, recently in my, must think, but cannot, spring bucket list setup, and I really like those. So I used a little bit here at the top, and I just loved the way this turned out. I really thought that this was just perfect, simple, but pretty, and kept me coming back to this page multiple times throughout the month. And this is one that I actually check. So this is this tab normally, the month or hourly goals page that I look at each day. Okay, so that's enough said about that. So next, this is kind of the big reveal, is the weekly layout and how I envisioned it. So this was the first week, and if you guys are familiar with any of the bound planners like the Common Planner or Hobonichi, I think it's the Hobonichi Cousin, where they have this like grid layout and hourly layout along the days of the week, that is kind of what I was gravitating towards as far as what I wanted for my hourly planner to look like. And the way that I had it set up for each of the weeks, basically I have it set up so it starts at maybe 4, and then 5, 6, and then 7, and then 8, all the way down to, I think we go till midnight, so 12. And so the numbers are there for if you want to do hourly planning. Sorry, I have to have to breathe and swallow. But if you wanted to, just use it as a day format, you will be able to do that. It's really easy to white out the gray numbers. So that's what I did here with the just a simple jelly roll, gel pen, and just whited it out here at the top so I could use this area for a different section and start my scheduling from 7 o'clock down below. And then if I wasn't using the bottom area, I just kind of divided up the page. So that's a lot to say that this is very similar to those layouts as the Hobonichi Cousin and the Common Planner, which is pretty much more of a bound planner system. So they don't really exist in the Happy Planner world, but I thought that this would be just a great format for hourly scheduling, but also easy enough to customize for your own needs. And lots of inspiration out there with the Hobonichi Cousin and Common Planners. So that said, what I did here was divided up into priorities, schedule, and goals each day. And then I tried different ways to track my time with color coding and time blocking throughout the month. So each day you're going to see a little bit of a different way of doing things because I was just trying to see what I liked the best. And this one was pretty good. The next week, what I did was I eliminated the goal section because I felt like it was just too repetitive and focused more on putting in the priorities for the day at the top and then really dialing in my schedule, using some color coding and some kind of line bars here to map out the time. I also have some weekly things that I wanted to tackle each week in the sidebar, and that worked out really good. So that was this format. The next one here, I added in the same kind of setup with the priorities because I liked that. I liked the scheduling, tried more of a dot format so I wasn't using so much ink, and mapping out my start and stop times each time here along each day. And that's worked out well as well. I think each week I just tried something that I felt fit a little bit better, was a little bit more simplified for what I needed. And so I think the very last week, this one I tried the highlighting because I always liked the way it looked in other people's planning, but I didn't like this as much. So just a simple line or line bar. I think this one actually looked the best overall. And yeah, so that's how it turned out. So I played with this for the month. I have a video recently about how I've been pre-planning using basically stickies like this. So I basically use these stickies as a way to pre-plan my week, and then as I actually do the things, I rewrite the day. Write the day in so that I know accurately how much time I spent on the things that I was planning to do. So again, there's a video on that if you want to know more. I'm just going to check the chat. Looks like there might be another question. What kind of printer am I using? I have a HP, is it HP? No, sorry, a Brother laser printer that I use. And I do have it linked in my shop under the DIY, not in my shop, sorry, in my Amazon store under the DIY list if you want to know the exact printer that I use. But that one's fairly reasonable for, if you're going to be doing a lot of printing. If you want something more small scale though, there's a lot of good inkjet printers out there, but I really like laser printers in general. So that's what I went with. And okay, so what I ended up doing here on this last page, instead of using the back page, I just went ahead and put the currently from the Happy Planner goals planner that I'd been using previously. and did my goals review on that to keep the consistency throughout the planner, since I didn't do that, or since I've been doing that since the beginning of the year. Sorry you guys, when I get near the end of these videos, I really have trouble talking, so my bad, but thanks for hanging in there with me. So I did the April goals review here, and yeah, just wanted it to look the same as the other months. That's what I was trying to say. So I have May already in there. Let's go ahead and move this into its planner, which is, this is the actual cover from the Happy Planner that I'm using. And it's an 18-month planner, although I don't think it's readily available anymore. A lot of, I think this is the end, yeah. A lot of the 18-month planners have been clearanced out, so it's hard to find it if you really wanted this planner in general. That said, let's go ahead and move this guy in. It's going to be a little bit weird this month because I'm putting in my inserts for the most part. It's basically like, I guess it really should be like here, and then I should probably take this out or move this somewhere else. But yeah, so we've got that. And now we're at the back of my planner. Basically, I have just the hourly set up for the rest of the month. And then I have a finance planner, budget planner that I've been using this year. I don't share the actual contents of this, but this insert is from Noted Co. And I did, actually, I can't say this full insert is from there. I did modify one of the pages from the insert that I downloaded to give me a single month overview of my bills. So that's what actually you're seeing on this very first pages. But the whole flip through of this is in my planner setup video if you want to know more about the printable I'm using this year and kind of how I'm using it. I may do a budget setup later in the year if you guys are interested, just to kind of get an idea of how I'm using it more practically, you know, like with me actually writing things in. I'll see what I can do. But I really like this insert, but I wanted to try out a budget planner before I actually made my own, because the one I was using from the Happy Planner wasn't working for me this year. So that said, I have all of April already moved out. I'm into May, and I have everything already organized and ready to go. I clipped it so that I wouldn't make any mistakes by flipping through pages by mistake and showing you guys some content I really didn't want to share. Okay, so that's really all of the flip throughs that we're going to be talking about. And now at the back of my planner, I'll just briefly go through the back pages and setup. Like I said, I have a reference tab in here, and in this section, this is where I keep some lower tabs for long-term storage items that I reference on occasion that I want to have at hand. So I have 4 sections. I have my personal section here, and then I have a business section. So can I flip this? Yeah. I have a business section, and all of these dashboards too I set up in that spring DIY refresh along with the cover. I have my business section. I have my social section, which, so my personal has more like, you know, just doctor information, chore lists, things like that, random stuff. Business is definitely more related to my freelance design business and Etsy projects. Then I have my social, which is, you know, YouTube videos, post ideas, things like that. And then finally, I have what I call the education section this year. This is basically any long-term continuing education information that I want to have at hand as far as, you know, self-development, professional development, that kind of thing. We've got that. And then the very last tab is my notes tab, and here I just keep some extra note paper, and we go right to a pocket folder so I can keep another pen in here, which is my 4-color friction pen on this DIY loop that I made, and some eraser shavings stuck to my back of my dashboard, and cover. All right, you guys, that's it. Whew, felt like I've been talking forever. So hopefully you guys found that informative. If there's any other questions you would like me to address, please let me know before we wrap things up. But you can also add them to the comments once this video is posted, and that way I can address them later down the road. I do see a few more comments before we wrap up. We've got, so are there lines in the dividing the days, or will we need to add those in? So there are lines, or if you're talking about the hourly, there are dividing lines. They're kind of light on this version, so I probably would darken those up a little bit just so it'd be easier to see. Again, that's kind of why I like to try things, print them, live with them, and see how they work. So yeah, that's one thing I did notice, that it does seem a little bit light as far as the dividing lines, but there is one on each right next to the time slots. Let me see if I can go to that real quick just so we're all on the same page here. Oh, I just put it away, didn't I? Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, so these lines, they are slightly darker, but yeah, I would definitely beef that up. Maybe, I don't know if I'd go all the way black, but maybe a darker gray, just so that it all feels a little less, you know, stark. Trying to see if there's another page that would show it a little bit better. Yeah, just a little bit darker to give you a firm division. Okay, let's see what else we got in the questions. See, sorry if I missed the comment, but what kind of economical paper do you suggest working with? Best for mild liners and stickers for home printers. So as far as economical paper, I'm in love with HP Premium 32 paper. It's really great for, you know, you can get like a, they call ream, you know, like 500 sheets. And it works perfect in printers of inkjet, laser, doesn't matter. And it's thick enough to double side print, but and is really smooth and white. So those are the features of it. It doesn't quite do super well with really inky markers. So like I can't really use my dot markers on it because it does tend to have some ghosting and bleeding. But most Tombow, mild liners, things like that, works perfectly, no bleed through. And that should be linked below in the description. So that's the one I always recommend to people, HP Premium 32 paper. Oh goodness, now it's going too fast for me to, let me go back up and see if I can catch the rest of these comments before they go. Let's see. So Kathy, yes, I would love to see a budget set up. Can you use random numbers? Oh, that's a great idea, Kathy. Maybe that would work out well. So yeah, okay. Thanks for that idea. And then we've got, let's see, I would love to see a budget setup. Great, thank you, Wendy. Thanks always. Thank you, thank you. Do your layout come with a monthly overview and then weekly layouts? So the way, Davis, the way that they're set up in my shop, I do have combined planners with the monthly and the weeklies, like a store-bought planner, like the Happy Planner, but inserting that overview page would be something separate. So I currently only have the overview pages as undated standalone pages that you would have to add in yourself as you do the printing. If it's something that you find intimidating as far as combining those pages, it's something I could create a combined planner for you, custom, another kind of custom item. But otherwise, it's just as simple of adding those pages in between the combined planner on your own, or getting an undated format and, you know, just printing month at a time with the layout that you want. Another for the budget setup. Okay, great to know. Thank you, you rock. Thanks. I'm happy to share. Okay, you guys, I think we're getting near the end. If there's any other comments, go ahead and shoot those in. Okay, yeah, a lot of interest in the budget setup. So, all right, good to know. I'll add that to the list of things to do, maybe sooner than later. I didn't realize there was interest. So that's good to know. Okay, thanks so much again, you guys, for joining me on this Sunday. I really enjoyed the kind of conversational mode of this format and, you know, sharing with you guys on, you know, this live chat kind of situation. So I hope that you can join me again next month. I will continue to do these videos once a month, and thank you for joining me this week or today or whatever, you know what I mean. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below, and go ahead and leave me a comment if you don't mind. If you'd like to get in touch, leave me another comment or something, helps with the engagement. And then if you're not subscribed to my channel, and you just stumbled upon this and you really liked what you saw, think about subscribing. I've got lots of videos to share with you guys about planning and planning decoratively, functionally, so lots of fun. So anyway, thanks again for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye!